video for the first module. This video focuses on research methods. I hope that you all got a good basis for research methods in your intro or social problems or both, but here's a little bit of a background. So research methods are basically standard rules that social scientists follow. Keep in mind there are two types of research methods. One is quantitative, and that seeks information about something that can be converted to numeric forms, right? This percentage of smokers get cancer. That's numbers, right? Qualitative is really more about things that can't be really put into numbers. Why did you start smoking, right? Something that can't necessarily be put into numbers. It's qualitative. So there are two typical ways to go about researching something in sociology. A deductive approach starts with a theory, right? And the theory might be I started smoking, or children with parents who smoke are more likely to smoke, right? You develop a hypothesis surrounding that, and then you make some observation. You ask, did your parents smoke? You ask people who don't smoke, did your parents smoke? You analyze your data and you say, am I right as someone who grew up in a household with smoke likely to smoke? Now, the other way is to really start with a problem, right? And that problem might be smoking. And you don't really know why people start smoking. And those observations form a theory. You might interview people with a variety of information, things that don't even seem connected to it. And then those observations determine the cause for the social problem. So really one starts with a theory and the other one starts with a problem, an observed problem. The big thing when it comes to research is determining causality. What causes a problem in society? Cause is simply put just a change in one factor that results in a corresponding change in another factor. Now, this seems like a really simple question to answer, but people tend to mix up causality and correlation and often come to incorrect conclusions. We know that ice cream sales and sunglasses are related. People purchase more ice cream who have worn sunglasses that day than individuals who haven't. So can we conclude that putting on sunglasses makes you want ice cream? I don't think so. In fact, both are a result of warm weather, because in warm weather, there's sun and you put on sunglasses. And in warm weather, you're more likely to buy yourself some freezing ice cream. So ice cream and sunglasses are correlated. One doesn't cause the other. And this seems to be a pretty straightforward example. But when we start to get into complex human reasoning, it gets to be easier to blame the sunglasses for the ice cream. When you're looking at research, think about causation versus correlation. Are things just related, or did one actually cause the other? When we look at research, there are a variety of ways that data is collected. Participant observation. This is a qualitative research method that seeks to uncover the meaning people give to their social actions by observing their behavior and practice, not something that can usually be reduced to numerical form, qualitative. Interviews, another way of gathering qualitative data. We can learn why people do what they do by asking them. Surveys. And surveys is a series of questions intended to elicit information. This typically can be converted to numerical form. Comparative research is simply a method that a researcher uses to compare two different entities with the intent of learning more about why they're different or why they're the same. Content analysis is just a way of gathering content, such as speech or film. It analyzes content. And historical methods collect data from many things, right? Newspapers, articles, journals, television programs, diaries, artifacts that date back to the period that you're studying. So one of the things that we need to ask ourselves is what makes good research? We know that research should be valid, reliable, and generalizable. Does the study measure what it intended to measure? If you conduct it again, would you get similar results? And could you apply it to other groups? It's also good to note that good research comes from individuals who are qualified to do the research. Individuals without qualifications should not be working out of their scope. And whenever research happens with humans, it should be reviewed before starting to avoid any ethical missteps. Specifically, when we talk about research with minority groups, there are a set of challenges that are unique. And these challenges involve practical, strategic, ethical, a bunch of different questions. How do we go about researching this? Minority group research is a really emerging field. In the past 2 decades, there's been a notable expansion in both the discussion of minority groups as well as research in contemporary societies. This has really been reflected in empirically based work, various facets of minority and majority relationships, contemporary society, historical periods. There's been a whole lot of work in many fields, not just sociology, anthropology, politics, geography, media, cultural studies. There's been a whole lot of research, especially about the rapid transformation that we've seen. So lots of things happening in this field. So it's been a good thing. Part of the context for this shift really comes from the growing evidence that minority and majority categories are very different in their outcomes, that being a part of a minority or a majority group does dictate your experiences. In fact, many social scientists feel that you really can't do research without considering an individual's membership in a minority group, because that's how big the impact of being a part of a minority group has on your set of outcomes and experiences. So that is the end of our Module 1 videos. Thanks so much for watching, and happy studying.